Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Corey, I'm 22, and this channel is all about creating a happy life in your 20s because it's not as easy as everybody makes it seem. So today we're talking about love. I'm doing a video series based off of Elizabeth Gilbert's book Eat, Pray, Love. I was inspired by the structure of that, where I think that it's smart to focus holistically on creating a happy life because you really need the physical aspects of it in terms of how you're treating your physical body when it comes to what you eat and what activity you're doing, and then the mental and spiritual aspect of things comes in with pray, and then finally love is, I think, probably one of the most important of all, both in learning to love yourself as well as being able to curate healthy relationships with others. So, last video we did the first eat video, which was a grocery haul, and I talked about becoming a vegan in training and my transition into veganism. So check it out. And then I said that we were going to go in chronological order, and that's why we started with eat. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I needed to do love next, because I've been dreading making more videos because I didn't want to get to the love video because I just have been really dreading making this video. But the point of this channel for me is both to have a place where I can come and get things off my chest and help to keep myself accountable for creating this life that I want, but also to share the fact that that is not always easy and that there are messy pieces to that. And I think that so much of that gets lost in today's media, especially when it comes to social media. I love the ability to stay in touch with people through Facebook and things like that, and to see people's incredible stories and art and their thoughts and just all of that through social media. I love it. But I feel like a lot of times the tendency is to curate what you share on social media to be the highlights of your life, which is awesome, but then it's so easy to see all of that and to feel like you are not enough, or like your life does not measure up to what everyone else is doing in theirs, or even that your life isn't on pace, like maybe everyone in your high school class is doing something that you haven't done yet, that you don't know if you want to do, or whatever. Like there's so many points of comparison that I think social media can create, and that's such a vacuum for joy to sit and compare your life to other people's. So, aside from just being my own kind of vlog and ability to talk about what's going on with my life, I also wanted this to be a place where I share publicly how messy this piece of it is for me right now, because I think I had this vision in my head of I was going to graduate college and then I was just going to be on this life track and things were going to be perfect, and maybe every once in a while there'd be some challenges that came up, but I would just breeze through them, and then that would be it. That would be my life, and that's not really what happened. So, I want to take a step back and give a little bit of backstory. I've mentioned this before, but I started dating someone in college, and that relationship continued after college. So, I just got out of a relationship that was a 2-year relationship, and I'm so grateful for it. It was such a incredible period of time in my life. And I'm not really going to go into the details of that relationship, just out of respect for the other person who was involved. And I really want to focus on the relationship with myself that I have to rebuild now, because I really lost track of who I was the past couple of years, and that is on me. It's my responsibility to take care of myself and my relationship and to find my joy, and I just haven't been focused on that at all. And now it's time to get back to that. But I wanted to tell you a story about this week because my life is messy right now. Let me just show you. So, because I never lived by myself after college, I don't really own any furniture. So right now in this transition period, I basically just don't have furniture. This desk is borrowed that I've been using. And then also, if you want to just look, I have no furniture in my living room, and there's no furniture in my kitchen. And my kitchen is a mess. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this week was my first week actually living by myself in this apartment, and I panicked. I did not know how to handle it. So I stayed really late at work and I went in really early because I just didn't want to be here by myself. It made so many like emotions come up that were hard to hide from now that I was kind of in a space where I didn't have any other like distractions from what I was feeling. And then I would come home, I would just eat like takeout or whatever like junky food that I could throw together for the most part. And then I would just like leave my dirty dishes in the kitchen, throw my clothes everywhere, and go to bed. And watch a lot of Netflix as I was falling asleep. And then I get up and do it all again. And then this weekend, I didn't have work to distract me, so I didn't know what to do. I went and got a giant slushie from 7-Eleven and a giant bag of Skittles, and I was laying in bed watching Netflix and eating all this junk food. And then there was this piece of me that was just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you choosing to do this with your life instead of going out and doing something that you actually love to do? And then there was this other voice inside of me that was like, well, it's okay to take care of yourself. And like, if you feel like you need a break from the world and you just need to hide away and watch some Netflix, like, that's okay. You're allowed to do that. And then there's this like goddess inside of me, and I credit her to my mother, because if you haven't met my mom, I feel bad for you, first of all. But she is like this incredible, just like vortex of energy. And I think that a big part of it for her is that she loves being a mother so much that anytime she sees anyone being victimized by like any sort of bad situation, she like changes into mother bear mode and just switches on this energy that is like, she doesn't take shit, and she's awesome. But I'm not as in touch with my goddess / mother bear energy as she is. But it came out this weekend and it was like, Corey, you have been hiding from your life for the past year and doing nothing but eating junk food and watching Netflix. And while it's okay to do that when you need to once in a while, like, you don't like your life. This is how you got here, basically. This is how you got to this point where you are laying in bed, feeling bad for yourself, and treating yourself badly because you're so unhappy. So do something else. Anything else. Just please, for the love of goodness, do something else. So I said okay, and I got out of bed, and I actually took a shower, and shaved my legs, which was a big step for me. And I put on a skirt, and I went out dancing. And I went to tango, and I love tango. I grew up dancing, and then tango for me is like the culmination of human connection because you get to do it through dance. And I was so in love with it. I used to do tango like 3 or 4 times a week back in college, and now I haven't done it in like 2 years. So I was super nervous to go last night. It was terrifying, especially because when I got there, I realized that I was super underdressed. This was like a full-on like formal milonga, which I didn't realize. And so I was wearing like a cotton skirt and just like a shirt, and most of the women there were wearing like their nice heels and these beautiful dresses and skirts, and I was like, but the important part of it was that I did it. I went and I put myself out there and I danced with people, and it was amazing. And there was this moment where I danced with this guy, and at the end he was like, wow, you are so musical. It was such a pleasure to dance with you. And that goddess voice inside my head was just like, fuck yes, you are musical and you love to do this, and you need to remember this moment because this is the important piece that you keep missing. You keep forgetting that this is where you find your joy, and this is where that joy and compassion that you love to share with other people comes from. So stop forgetting about it, please. The goddess in me was like so happy last night. She was just like connecting with people and like enjoying herself and having a good time. The introvert side of me was having a panic attack and like hiding in the back corner of my brain, just like, what is going on? I'm so overwhelmed. But the other piece of me kind of just took over and was like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I needed. So it was such a good feeling, and I'm so glad that I did it. And I think that this is kind of the first step. Like, that's a happy story, but I've had a couple of those like happy stories in the past year, and then it's so easy to fall back into those habits of just laying in bed and watching Netflix, because I tell myself like, oh, well, you went dancing last weekend, so you don't need to do anything this weekend if you don't want to, you know? Um, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to keep falling back into that, because now I know that this goddess voice inside of me is going to come out and be like, what are you doing? Stop doing this with your life. You're so unhappy. Like, why? Why are you I'm making myself unhappy. And that, I think, is so sad. Like, that makes me sad above anything else. Like, beyond and above any breakup that I've ever gone through, the saddest piece of it is always realizing that I have this habit of letting other relationships in my life, not just romantic relationships, but all of these other relationships in my life, supersede the relationship that I have with me and the things that give me joy. And I'm so quick to make sacrifices for other people. And I do love that part of myself, because I think that, I love the compassion that I have for other people, and that is so important to me. But I just am learning more and more that I can't continue to give that compassion if I'm not willing to create it in my own life for myself, because then I get to this point where I just am so empty and I don't have any joy in my life, and then I snap at people and I'm quick to get angry and I'm quicker to be judgmental, and just all, it's a snowball effect, and the snowball got really big this time. Just life got so overwhelming when it came to figuring out what I wanted in my life. And I think that I don't think I really consciously thought through what it was that I wanted in my life, because I got out of college and the thought was like, okay, I'm out of college, now I need a job. And so I got a job, and then the first job I got out of college, I hated. I hated it so much that it made me physically sick to go to it. I would have panic attacks on the train going to that job. And it wasn't because the job was really that bad. I worked for a company it was a tech company. It's a great company. They treated me well. But it was a sales job, and just I personally, my personality does not fit in well with being a salesperson. Being selling things makes me feel pushy, and it makes me feel mean. Even though I'm not being mean, it makes me feel mean. And so going through the act of trying to present myself in a way that wasn't honest to who I am, just made me feel terrible every single day. So I only stayed in that job for about 3 months, and then I was like, I have to get out. And so I just got another job immediately afterwards, and I like the job that I'm in now, which I'm so grateful for. But also, there's a piece of me that is kind of sad, because I kind of pictured that I would leave college and go out into the world and do something that made a really big difference in people's lives. Even if it wasn't gonna change the entire world, my daydream was to do something that made people feel good every day, and that's not really what I do. What I do isn't bad, but it doesn't give me that that feeling of oh my gosh, I love doing this, So now that's the new goal, is to find that place that that I can survive enough off of to make a living, but that I also get to create that connection and that feeling of making someone's life better every day. So working on that piece of it. And then also I think that I just, like I said, it's so easy for me to let other relationships supersede the one that I have with me. So especially moving away from my home town and my home state, I felt all this obligation to call people and check in and be on the phone with them and make that time to call them and stay connected to home. And while I do think that that's important, sometimes it was I would skip doing something that I really wanted to do in order to make that phone call or in order to be there for someone, and really kind of left myself out of the picture. So now I have no excuses. I don't have any, like I said, I don't have any distractions here right now. I don't really have. I think the other thing that I just realized is that I really struggled in California with making connections with people and creating relationships. And I think that a big part of that is just because, like, I don't do the things that I love. So it's like I don't have any common ground to connect with people on because I'm not doing things that I love. Therefore, I'm not meeting other people who love those same things. And when I meet people, like, I don't really have a lot to talk about because my life has basically been go to work, come home, eat food that makes me feel like crap, sit on the couch and watch TV and feel like more crap, and then you know, dislike my body and feel like even more crap, and just like the whole thing has been crap. It's been a giant pile of crap. And the worst part of talking about all of that is that that is on me. I did that to myself. And that makes me sad because I like me. I love me. Like, who better to love myself than me, right? And so it makes me a little bit emotional right now to think about the fact that I did that in my own life. But there's another piece of me that recognizes and forgives that because it is hard when you get out of school. You feel it's scary because you want to be independent, you want to find a job, you want to create that happiness, you want to find that in your life. But I just think, like, we don't really talk about, like, thoughtfully creating that happiness in society a lot of times. And especially with social media, it's easy to watch people's happy moments, and because you don't get to see, like, this piece of it, you don't get to see the heartbreak that they have and the difficulty that they go through. It's easy to think that those people just fell into those moments. It's easy to think that those people getting married have always just loved each other and been best friends, and like they just fell in love and got married and that's it. And the truth is that that's not the full story for most people. And it's so easy to look at people's cute babies and be like, "Oh my god, that baby is adorable." Like, I totally have baby fever, guys. I do not want a baby, but I have baby fever. But it's so easy to look at Facebook and be like, "Oh my gosh, that baby is so cute." And to look at all the Instagram photos or all of the, like, beautiful maternity photos that people have professionally done and be like, "Look at how beautiful that is." But think about that. Like, we don't watch people's birth videos on Facebook. And I'm not saying that should be a thing. We should not watch birth videos on Facebook. But we miss the messy piece of it. And the pain and the difficulty of pregnancy, I think, is what helps to create how much joy there is in that moment when you get to meet your child for the first time. I don't know because I'm not a mom, but I have to imagine that that is a big piece of it. And I think that that's true of people who, like, have incredible careers too, is that the reason why they can light up a room when they talk about what they do is because they worked their ass off to be there, because they put their blood, sweat, and tears into that job, and now it's something that they just get to love and enjoy. But I think that it's so easy to feel like everybody else is getting the joy and you're getting the shitty part of things. I still have days where I feel like that, where I have to take myself off Facebook and turn it off and tell myself that I can't look at my Instagram feed because I'm comparing my life to all of those moments and feeling like I am not enough. And the truth is that I am enough, and I am the only person who is responsible for telling myself that every single day. I am enough. And I have been blessed with people in my life, like my mom and other strong women, who have shown me that goddess energy, as I've been talking about it, that manifestation of that feeling of, like, you are enough. This goes for guys too. I don't know what you want to call your inner goddess. You can have an inner goddess or an inner god or whatever it is for you. But I think that we don't listen to that voice enough, and we get lost in this feeling like we have to just follow the path that we fall onto in life. And then we wake up in these moments where we're really unhappy. And I still find it shocking that that happened to me at 22, because I feel like there are a lot of stories of people going through like midlife crises where they wake up. I mean, Eat, Pray, Love is this, right? Like it kicks off with Elizabeth Gilbert talking about how she woke up in this beautiful marriage and this beautiful home with everything she thought that she ever wanted, and she realized that it didn't make her happy, and she blew up her life in order to go pursue that happiness. And that's such a scary thing to do. And I definitely never assumed that I would have to do it at 22. I thought that life was going to be a breeze until I hit like 30 at least. I don't know why. I don't know why I had that perception, but I did. Maybe it's because I saw all of my 20 something friends on Facebook and it looked like their lives were just like breezing by. And I was like, that's going to be me. And then it wasn't. But anyway, my hope for this video is that sharing this story helps to let someone else out there know that they are not alone. If you are struggling, if you feel unhappy or you feel inadequate, or if you're going through any of this in your life too, just know that like you're not alone. It happens. I'm going through it. I've talked to other people who are going through it. I think that it's so crucial for us to share these stories with each other. You don't have to do it in a public forum if you're not comfortable with that, but just like extend a hand out to someone else who is going through something difficult, because I think we never know people's stories. A lot of times we don't get to see this messy piece of things in the background, and we never, it's easier to judge people than it is to extend your hand and let them feel that love and connection. So this is me kind of extending my hand out into the universe and saying, if you are struggling, know that you are not alone. I'm here in it with you, struggling to learn how to love and care for myself, because you'd think that that would be like a default setting in our brains, to just love ourselves and love our lives, and it's not. Something that you have to kind of form, or at least it is for me. So anyway, if you have a story that you want to share, I'd love to hear from you. I'll put my social media links down below, so if you want to get in touch with me there, you can do that. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. I'll also leave my email address, so if you guys want to have, if you want to FaceTime, if you want to just send me a note about what you're going through in your life or whatever it is, I'm here. I'm happy to listen. I'd love to hear your stories, and thanks so much for listening to mine.